What's up, guys? It's Tetrosphere. Just a heads up, or not heads up, but remarking something I said in the last video. This here is actually top 8. Some things got out of order on my end as far as videos, so round 3 is going to be coming up later, and what I thought was round 5 was actually, or what I thought was round 4 was actually round 5. It doesn't matter as far as your viewing experience is concerned, but we do have Dylan on the left versus Chris on the right. And we're going to start things off with the summon of Marshmallow Yummy. Yummy link off into Snatchy. Snatchy grab Mignon. Mignon revive Yummy. Marshmallow. And now we can go ahead and synchro summon into the Cupsy Yummy way, which is going to search Cupsy Yummy and probably Lollipo or Cookie. And definitely off to a very strong and fast start here on the side of Dylan. Yep, we go ahead and add Lollipo and Cupsy, thinking on discard here. And we are going to discard that Dark Ruler no more. Makes perfect sense. Obviously, we ended up going first, so no need to keep that in. Cupsy Yummy, inherent special summon. Search on summon. Probably going to grab Yummy Surprise. Really no reason to do it any other way. And let's go ahead and go for a Synchro 3. 2 plus 1 equals, what's her, Sam's, the Sorrow Cat, right? Inherent Special Summon Lollipo. Now, 3 plus 4. Herald. Oh, that's not the EMZ, that's the, field spell. Okay, I was trying to... I'm like, how do we have Snatchy in the EMZ and then go into Gravity Controller? But that's just the field spell. Our mat's a little funky there. No worries. So Gravity Controller sends Herald to the grave. Herald adds Habakiri. Habakiri summon and tribute Saji. Saji add Ritual. Now, of course, the Sorrow Cat can put that Herald back if we so desire. Or we could start going into our Mitsurugi plays, which does appear to be the wave. We're going to go ahead and summon from deck, it looks like, tributing the Habakiri from hand. Hitting the field is Murakumo. Mitsurugi Habakiri is going to add because it was tributed. Grabbing Mirror. Okay. Go ahead and activate Surprise. This is going to let us summon from grave here. We do hit the Marshmallow, and then Marshmallow on summon is going to add the Surprise from grave back to hand. Link 1 plus level 1 monster equals Yummy Synchro Monster, going into the Yummy way of Lollipo to summon from grave. Marshmallow and Lollipo of the main deck variety. Sorrow Cat summons herself by putting Herald back. And then, of course, we're going to synchro off into Herald once again. Let's see here. We have Mirror as well. We're going to go ahead and summon the Habakiri from grave, no doubt, tributing the Murakumo. We're going to try to summon Murakumo from grave, and then it looks like we're going to chain the Nibiru, which Herald is going to negate and destroy by tributing itself. Murakumo hits the field and will search. So, Nib unfortunately didn't clear the board here, but it did get the Omni/Floodgate off the board, so I still think it was a fine choice to Nib there. It probably wasn't going to be any more relevant at any other point in the match, so might as well go for it. And, what did... Trying to figure out what all added what. There was a lot going on there, but it looks like we added prayers in some capacity. We're going to go ahead and link off into an IP Masquerena. We have a lot of back row we can set here. I see Great Purification. I see prayers. I think I see a Forbidden Droplet. And we have Surprise. So we're looking at an IP of Murakumo and 4 in the back. Not to mention the Yummy tag out as well. My camera gets knocked. So we're going to go ahead and go first action, key to Dracotail, and that's going to be met with the Great Purification, which is going to tribute the Murakumo, and then on a new chain, Murakumo is going to summon itself and search, as well as go chain link to Mitsurugi Mirror to shuffle itself back into the deck. Murakumo adds prayers and hits the field. Alright, what do we have here? I see another Nib, I see a Dracotail Trap, and I see a normal summon Mululu. And we're just going to go ahead and go Forbidden Droplets. And that was quite enough. Didn't even need to use a third of the interactions we were able to put on the... Oh, there's my camera getting knocked again. That's cool. Now we're tilted the other way. Let me adjust my face cam a bit just to make sure we can see everything. Gotta make sure we can keep that Mountain Dew in camera. Regardless, quick game one there. Dylan definitely well understanding his lines there and playing optimally, while Chris on the other side there, unfortunately, it didn't have a great opener. You know, double Nib, you draw a Dracotail Trap. Not a lot of ways to extend. I mean, it was 2 negates was all it took to pretty much, you know, rid your hand of all of its resources. So, really good opener from Dylan, really poor opener from Chris. Let's see if game 2 goes a little bit better for our friend on the right, playing Dracotail. I am curious if he's on any branded. We, of course, didn't get this. Oh, I see Canine card, so... that looks like it was mostly coming out, which kind of makes sense because you don't expect the Yummy stuff to play into it. However, the Mitsurugi stuff definitely plays into it, so I'm not so sure that taking K9 out was what I would have done here, but I mean, I don't play Advanced, so whatever. Who am I to say? Who am I to judge? Alright. Carefully considering our side deck options is Dylan. Ooh, I think I saw Anti-Spell Fragrance possibly going to be coming in game 3 if there is such a game to be played. Because that is going to shut down the Dracotail strategy pretty quick. Puts them on basically have specifically Mululu or Phimena. All right, decks are well shuffled. Well cut. Hands are drawn. Let's see how game 2 goes underway. What is Chris able to do to try to stymie Dylan from advancing to top 4? First action, Ketu Dracotail. Now, my angle here is horrible to see Dylan's hand. As he was picking them up, I tried my best to look to see what it was. I don't think I saw any hand traps. So probably going to be an unfettered turn here for Chris, who adds Pan. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and normal summon Cartesia. Now, I really like Cartesia, not just because it's another way to fuse. Specifically, it's a way to fuse that does not play into the Retaliating Sea. However, we kind of played into it anyway with the Ketu. Regardless, Cartesia is going to fuse away the Pan and the Phimena into an Arthalion. Arthalion is going to add those 2 bad Jacksons right back to hand, and the Pan and the Phimena are going to set Sting and Flame, both very powerful interactions against Mitsurugi and Yummy individually, and then, of course, in the aggregate, really good against the hybrid. Pan and Phimena in hand, plus 2 others that I didn't quite notice, linking off the Cartesia into Spirit, so likely going for a Seals play here. Arthalion and Spirit with Eyes of Blue do make Hieratic. Now we go Rahu. Fimena from hand, and then it's got to be Urgula from deck. Indeed. Probably making our Gulamel. Both Fimena and Urgula will be able to set from deck now, so we could get the other trap. And it looks like we don't set a Ketu for follow-up. Urgula now can put itself on the bottom of the deck to add Fimena back to hand. Oh, there is a Ghost Bell in Dylan's hand, so that might come up. We're either going to use that on the Urgula to put back the Fimena in hand, or there's a chance we save it for a trap. And yeah, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and keep the Fimena, or allow the Fimena to go back to hand. So we have Fimena plus Pan plus Ash in hand. All 3 traps, and then Cartesia goes back to the hand in end phase because the fusion was sent to grave. Plus we have Gulamel and Hieratic. Passing it over to Dylan, first action, Marshmallow to summon itself because we have an empty board. Nothing to interact with this. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. Linking that off now into the Snatchy. Snatchy's going to try and place that field spell. And we're going to go ahead and chain Hieratic here. Bounce the Snatchy. Snatchy is going to still place the field spell. And then, of course, on a new chain, we will be able to summon a dragon from deck. This is mandatory because Seals was tributed while in the EMZ. Quakimeru! That's nasty. Normal summon Cookie. So now we basically have to try to beat over this 0/0 Quakimeru with Cookie Yummy. But now that it's in attack position, Horn could get rid of it. We have Ghost Bell, though. So that's fine. I think we potentially Sting here. And then chain Gulamel to the Sting, right? Flame. Oh, I guess we could, or you can flame the field spell. And then Gulamel pop. And then, yeah, there goes the dynamite. Quakimeru Drago was enough to seal the deal. Not typically the way I like to see a game be won, but the way game 1 was won, I get it. I get it. You know, that board was basically unbreakable, even with a deck like Dracotail, which just has immense board breaking potential. A custom Dracotail hand of like 6 cards, where you know all 6 of your cards are live, good interactions, can break a board like that. But a 2-nib and a Dracotail trap hand ain't gonna cut it. So now we are able to force a game 3. Mitsurugi, piloted by Dylan, will once again likely be going first here. Basically going to try to just replicate the same thing that happened in game 1, except we may try to get our Floodgate revenge with a card like that Anti-Spell Fragrance. Yep, out come the Drolls, the Dark Rulers, the Chummies. Taking out Bell definitely makes sense. When you're going first against Dracotail, the traps are typically not that much of a factor. You can still Bell like the Urgula effect to put Fimena back if that's like their only way to extend, but that's pretty niche. So typically, unless your siding pattern is like very awkward for Dracotail, which, let's face it, it's a top 2 deck in the format, your siding pattern for Dracotail should not be awkward. But if that is the case, then, you know, Bell is still fine when you're going first, but not optimal. More of a going second card against Dracotail. All right. One of these players' tournament run is about to be over. Another will advance to top 4. Game 3. Dylan will have the option. Go first or second. Why is everyone taking so long to shuffle? Bro, I know it's an untimed round, but I have an audience. That's all I have to say about that. All right, decks have been presented. Cut, two to the bottom. Pass it over. Who's playing, Dylan? Is it you? Let's see. I see a very strong engine hand. Normal summon Lollipo in the main phase. No effect, of course. Link off into the Snatchy. Snatchy plays Mignon. Ooh, Baldrake on the Lollipo. So this game not going to go the same as game one. We have some very strong points of interaction. Now, I think I saw a Nibiru in Chris's hand. Very strong combination with that Jewis Worm. Because, of course, if the Jewis Worm is tributed and therefore sent to grave, it can then also pop the token. Now, we follow up with pre-preparation of rights. This is going to grab Mirror and Murakumo. Our turn is definitely not over. We're going to go Habakiri. Habakiri is going to resolve. Summon Saji, Tribute Saji. We already have a Prayers in hand, so we might be adding like a Great Purification if we play it. I just saw you pass it. Okay, so we're adding Ritual. Wait, of course we're adding... What am I saying? I was thinking because of the mirror we added that we didn't need Ritual, but that's not correct. You grab Ritual. Alright, Ritual is activated. Looks like we're summoning from hand. Murakumo hits the board, tributing a Habakiri. Likely not going to blow up the board with Murakumo here. No need to give the Jewis Worm for free. So Habakiri adds Great Purification. And then we're going to activate Mirror, tributing Murakumo to summon Habakiri from grave. And then Murakumo is going to summon itself and add from deck. Just another Prayers, another way to extend. Set up a good interaction. Oh, overlay for 8. Zombie Vampire. But Nib on summon. Very strong Nib here. Much better than the first one. Zombie Vampire, of course, is an ignition effect, not a quick effect. So we are cutting off access to quite a bit here by going through the Nib. And then, of course, the Jewis Worm is going to get rid of the token. Now, we still have Prayers, so we're not completely out of the game here. But this is a insanely weaker board than it would have been. Murakumo with Great Purification and Prayer set seems to be what we're going to end up with as Chris draws into his 4th card. Much more manageable, much more breakable board. Let's go ahead and activate Ketu Dracotail, which once again is met with the Great Purification. And once again, of course, Mirror can shuffle itself back. Murakumo can search and summon itself. Adding Prayers, summoning itself. Nothing more to see here. Now we have Rahu Dracotail. Murakumo is going to force the discard. We do discard a 2nd rock, allowing Rahu to resolve. We've got a game here, ladies and gentlemen. Phimena and Urgula. We're going to have 3 chain links here. Arthalion hits the field. Going to do some bouncing. And Urgula and Phimena, of course, are going to trigger to set cards. And in the case of Urgula as well, pop a spell or trap. We're going to go prayers here, tributing the Murakumo. Take 800, summon the Murakumo. Now the chain's going to resolve backwards. So Murakumo hits the field. Now Vimena, Urgula, and Arthalion are all going to resolve. We're going to set Flame. We're going to set Sting. And we're going to pop Field Spell. Murakumo is going to... Okay, so only Vimena was added back to hand, so my guess is that Murakumo was one of our other targets with Arthalion. Oh no, we only used one card from hand. That's right, that's right. So we only had one target, being the Vimena. Now we have Sting and Flame to work with, but we're up against quite a bit still. The Murakumo is going to be able to negate essentially something because we have to discard the Vimena to allow it to resolve, which is not great. Because we'd rather draw into monsters with those traps that we can then fuse away with Vimena. Field Spell on the side of Dylan is going to put Snatchy and Lalipo back and itself back. I know Dylan has something like a pre-prep. I see the Fua, which is kind of useless here. I do believe Habakiri has already used its once per duel effect, and we have the prayers. I think we can potentially push lethal here. Alright, so it looks like we link away the Murakumo and the Fua into a Dynamano. Dynamano is targeting the Habakiri and one of the face downs to shuffle both in the deck. Arthalion's going to try to summon itself from grave because two monsters were sent to the grave at the same time. Now we're going to activate pre-prep. Flame was sent back, so we do still have Sting, but that's basically it. We're kind of just praying that we can draw a monster off of it here so that Vimena can fuse it plus Arthalion into something. Something useful. Now, let's think about this, because if Mirror is activated, we have Sting to try to banish the Murakumo, but then we can just chain prayers. Looks like we were thinking on what monster to add with pre-prep. We just added the spell so far. And we do add Habakiri. Alright, so in hand we have Habakiri, Mirror, Prayers, and something else. But we activate the Sting. Great Purification is chainable right now because we have the Dynamano to tribute. So that's probably not a great choice. Looks like we choose it anyway. Let's see how this resolves, because basically everything's chainable. If the monster target for Sting was a Mitsurugi, then we can dodge it with prayers. And if the spell trap target was Great Purification, then we can dodge it with its own effect. And if Sting doesn't banish anything, it's not going to draw a card. Which is like a big part of what's going on here. We do activate the prayers. Probably just revive whatever Mitsurugi name he targeted. Okay, so we don't chain Great Purification. So Sting does resolve successfully. It's going to bottom deck a card and draw something. Let's see if it was a monster. Murakumo is revived off of prayers and then tributed with Mirror. Once tributed, it can go ahead and add and then summon itself. And then we Ash. That is pretty wild. That should at least buy us a turn. Drawing into Ash with that Sting was insane for exactly that moment. Yeah, Habakiri reduces everything's attack by 800. Excuse me, so Arthalion was down to 22. Meaning Habakiri could beat over it and the Dynamondo could attack directly. And then on the opponent's turn, Dynamondo, of course, is able to tribute itself to summon Murakumo from Grave. This is a pretty strong negate right now because, of course, we drew into 2 cards. So if we want any 1 card to resolve... Yeah, it was caught immediately, but no, we only summoned from extra deck 1 time. It was just the Dynamondo, so Mululu is not valid. We will chain Murakumo to the Mululu. We won't discard. It will be negated, and this is basically as over as it gets. Because, of course, it'll be a simple matter of negating the Mululu once again if we try to use it again. We draw a card. We attack into the Mululu with Murakumo, which is going to have, like, very low attack because Habakiri is reducing it. Let's see. The Habakiri over Arthalion would have been 200 damage. Dynamondo direct. Looks like that's what we're figuring out right now. How much damage does Dynamondo do? 22. Okay, so that's 2,400 last turn. That's pretty good. Murakumo plus Habakiri now over the Mululu. Looks like we've done 7,700 damage based on... Yeah. So we draw a Go Spell. That's not going to do it. Much better Game 3. Game 3 was good there. Game 1 and 2 were both over pretty quick. Basically, both players were able to just put up something that the other person couldn't play through. But the Bestial Nib combination made it a game there. I think Dylan pretty much was in control the whole time. But Chris was able to put up a fight. His tournament run is over. Dylan advances to the top 4. Can't wait to see you guys there. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.